reflecting in our eyes. The time of our lives is all in the light. We'll get what we've been working for, however long to reach that door. Read through it all, I hope we'll find the time of our lives is all in the
I had no home to rely on, driving around in a passenger van, dreaming of when I'd ever begin to start my life. That's when I moved to the city to be on the stage, but the curtain had closed. You walked in the room, and that's when I knew that I was home, and my life will begin. Didn't believe it was true till I met somebody. I met somebody like you. Had no direction to move till I met somebody. I met somebody like you. You took a flight from the desert to take up a room with a mutual friend. Couches and wine and everything's fine. Just one day at a time. And it gets you by. I didn't believe it was true till I met somebody. I met somebody like you. Had no direction to move till I met somebody. I met somebody like you. Somebody like you. Somebody like you. I was just fading away till I met you. I was just notes on a page till I met you. Never imagined the day when I'd meet somebody like you. Couldn't believe it was true till I met somebody. I met somebody like you. Somebody like
Good morning, welcome to Crossroads. We are so glad that you are joining us, whether it's here in the building or online. If you are willing and able, would you please stand and sing with us? Come gather round the mystery of love in a broken history, where grace seals the fault lines in me, time and time again, and welcomes me in to a house for the hungry, a well for the thirsty, where all souls come together, shoulder to shoulder, a welcome for the traveler, new wine for the vineyard. In all things, God is able. Love has a bigger table. Show me who is my neighbor, the Christ hidden in the mirror. His love doesn't mean a stranger. Love calls them friend and welcomes them in to a house for the hungry, a well for the thirsty, where all souls come together, shoulder to shoulder, a welcome for the traveler, new wine for the vineyard. In all things, God is able. Love has a bigger table. There's an empty seat waiting next to me. We gotta make some room for each other. Let my enemy be my family. Fill my cup till it's running over. There's an empty seat waiting next to me. We gotta make some room for each other. Let my enemy be my family. Fill my cup till it's running over. A house for the hungry, a well for the thirsty, where all souls come together, shoulder to shoulder, a welcome for the traveler, new wine for the vineyard, where all things God is able. Love has a bigger table. Love has a bigger table. Love has a bigger table. Would you please go ahead, have a seat, and check out this video?
Welcome to Crossroads Church. Whether you're connecting online, in person, or on demand, thank you for making this time part of your week. If you are new to Crossroads, you might be asking yourself, what is this place all about? Well, it's pretty simple. Peace on earth. We are an open and affirming community of people committed to following the peacemaking path of Jesus. And this peacemaking path leads us to focus our work on rewriting what we call the 5 unacceptable truths. These unacceptable truths are 5 realities that hinder human flourishing and destroy peace on earth. Together, we work to replace spiritual emptiness with spiritual vitality, poverty with physical and financial flourishing, fear of the other with inclusion and affirmation, illiteracy with education and opportunity, and modern-day slavery with freedom. This is what we mean when we say, hope is here. Over the next hour, we will experience the divine mystery together as we sing a few songs, listen for wisdom, and share in communion so that we might leave here inspired and equipped to follow the peacemaking path of Jesus in our everyday, normal lives. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God.
Well, good morning and welcome to Crossroads. My name is Jessica, and in my everyday normal life, I'm a patient representative at a hospital here in town. Just want to say good job making it to church today. It's kind of a double whammy with being Halloween weekend and the time change, so give yourselves a pat on the back. You might have noticed a fun art display in the atrium. That's right, today we are hosting an art show. Last weekend, we launched our annual food drive through Partners in Hope, and we thought it would be fun to get our kids involved. They worked very hard on the art that you see displayed in the atrium. So this morning, when you purchase a piece of art, your donation will go directly to the food drive. Every year, Partners in Hope comes alongside our partners, Loveland Community Kitchen and the House of Neighborly Service, to help them stock their food pantries in advance of the holiday season. This year, more than ever, we know that services provided by these partners are vital to those experiencing food insecurity. Here in Colorado, SNAP benefits are being delayed this month, leaving many families without the much-needed source of help. Loveland's Community Kitchen and House of Neighborly Service are experts in the area of food security, and the very best way for us to offer support is by making a financial donation. So after the service, peruse the art show in the atrium and then stop by the table to claim your art and make a donation. Thank you for helping to rewrite the unacceptable truth of poverty in our community. As you came in today, you should have received a program. If not, raise your hand and our room host will come by and bring one to you. If you are new here today, welcome. The program folder is designed specifically for you with information that might be helpful. There are a few things that I want to point out. Everyone go ahead and take out that Connect card or click on it if you're in the app on the weekend section. The Connect card is for everyone to fill out every week. If you're a regular attender, just put your name and email address and check the box regular attender. If you are new here, please check the box new here and fill out as much information as you feel comfortable sharing. If this is your first time with us this morning, we have a gift for you. It is a book called The God We Never Knew. It is especially helpful if you are deconstructing ways of thinking about God that were handed to you that may no longer make sense. So on your way out of the auditorium, you can grab a copy of that book from the tables in the back, or better yet, you can come and see me at the Fresh Perspective banner after service. I would love to meet you and discuss any questions that you might have. Also, for everyone that is new-ish, I would like to invite you to our next Connect with Crossroads reception that will follow the service next weekend. You'll have a chance to meet our lead pastor, Ryan, and you'll hear more about the peacemaking heartbeat of Crossroads Church. Light refreshments will be provided, and kids are welcome. To RSVP for the Connect with Crossroads, please just check the box on the back of your Connect card and let us know that you're coming. One more calendar note for you. Make plans to stay after the service on November 16th for the annual ministry celebration. At the annual ministry celebration, we will take time as a community to celebrate the past year and look forward to the future. We are anticipating hearing some very important updates in the life of our church, and members will have the opportunity to vote on some items. You don't have to be a member to attend the ministry celebration, but we do hope that you don't miss the opportunity to become a member in time to vote and make your voice heard. So now I'm going to pass it off to Ryan to talk a little bit more about membership.
What's happening, Jess?
Hey,
How are you doing?
good, how are you?
How was Halloween?
Spooky.
Yeah? What'd you dress up as?
Well, I was Wonder Woman. woman
For
Spooky
I remember,
Palooza.
yeah. And your husband was
He was Captain America.
Captain America.
So, little couch potato for actual
Oh,
Halloween. though.
nice.
That was
Like you dressed up or you just were a couch
just
potato?
was.
It just
I
was.
just
That's fair enough.
brought it on the couch.
Fair enough. In our neighborhood for a Halloween night, like we set up like bluey stuff, and we had treats for the kids, and then we had treats for the adults. So we were a popular house.
Oh.
Nobody visited twice though, which we were like, I'm sorry, I can't overserve you, you know. But before you go, Jess, I have to tell you, I went out and I was looking at the art show. We're super excited about this today. A really fun way to kind of bring a little tactile element, because we don't have the food truck out anymore, because we talked with our partners and they were like, food is great, but we can buy more if you give us money. So we thought, why don't we listen to the people that are experts? So our kids got involved. I think we have some students that are going to take their money, right, afterwards. And this was the drawing that was chosen as the featured drawing. It's been, shadow boxed. It was colored by Nell, who's 7 years old. And this one is the prized one for a donation to Feeding Hungry Folks of $300. This can go home with you today. And the donation amount doesn't really matter. There's lots of artwork out there. Let's not hurt kids' feelings and leave art up there, okay? That'd be a jerk move. That'd be a total jerk move, okay? So let's make sure all the art goes away. I'm going to give that to you, Jess. I'll take that from you, Jess. Give Jess a great big hand.
Thanks.
I love it. Woo! It's nice to see everybody today. If you're a guest, my name's Ryan. Thanks for being here today. It is membership season. Here's what I want to, I was going to, originally the plan for today was to spend about 5 minutes or so kind of going through membership orientation. So I'm going to do that in about 30 seconds, okay? Membership around Crossroads is about moving from this is the church I go to this is my church. There is no class to go to. There's no set of doctrines to believe. What we come together as members is that we are together walking the peacemaking path of Jesus, and we're committing to creating an organization that equips and encourages everyday normal peacemakers to rewrite the 5 unacceptable truths. We are what's called a pietistic. We're part of a pietistic tradition. So we've never been doctrinally based. That's never been kind of who we are as a church, that everybody has to believe exactly the same way. And so that's who we are. And if you've been around for a season, I think the recommendation is like 3 to 6 months, so you kind of get a good feel for who we are. If you're willing to stay engaged with what's happening on Sunday mornings, because this is kind of like the heartbeat of where we get information out and where our formation happens. If you're willing to volunteer as you're able to, if you're willing to financially support the work as you're able to, and you want to walk the peacemaking path of Jesus in community, then check the box. And we would love to have you be a member, okay? If you have any questions about membership, feel free to ask me, feel free to ask Jimmy, feel free to ask your neighbor. Say, are you a member? And if they say no, then ask them a question about it, see if what they say, I don't know. But a lot of folks, how many of you are official card? You don't have a card, we don't have a card. How many of you are members? Raise your hand up nice and high. Yeah, that's wonderful. So we hope that everybody's a member. And if you are a member, you got an email this week. Who got my email this week? How many of you like be honest, raise your hand up nice and high. You're like, what is happening, right? Yeah, so can we just have a little conversation for a few minutes? Is that okay with everybody? We're going to kind of put a little pin in our service, and we'll see. I've got a life-changing message for you today. It changed my life twice. I've been through it twice, and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be good. But we'll get to that hopefully. But I'd like to take maybe 10 minutes and just kind of share the journey, remind us about things we've been talking about as a community. If you're a guest today, if you're tuning in online, I'm glad you're here to hear this, to hear about our church and where we are. So I want to take you back about 7 years ago. Get in your DeLorean, go back 7 years ago. There was this guy in Maine who was doing work in New England, who he and his family felt that it was, after 20 years of work, there was a something that we were called to that was different. We were just experiencing an incredible amount of disenchantment with the evangelical church that we were a part of. When I say church, I mean Big C Church. I don't mean like the church we were serving. But and we got a phone call from somebody who was calling on behalf of this church out in Colorado that said, hey, my name is so-and-so. I'm a consultant. There's a church. I know I have your resume. I'd like to give them your resume. And we said, no. And some of you are like, why didn't you go with your first gut, Ryan? Life would be better. But so the first time we kind of heard about it, we said, no. And then they called and said, we'd like to but I want to have so we said, okay, go ahead. But they said, before you do that, I want to have a conversation with you. Now, I'm just going to be real, and this is not like, this is just truth, okay? Like how we interpret it is different. But what was said to me was, this is a really wonderful opportunity. It's a church that has had a vibrant, wonderful history in the community, but it's also had a complicated history in the community. And it has had rough seasons, and it has challenges, and it is in a challenging season. So the things that I was told at the time was, wonderful church, pastor has retired, founding pastor, amazing work in the community, but it had a massive church split that it went through. And there's still effects of that in the community. And then I was told, and it went through another recent kind of downturn because of tension that had taken place within the life of the church. And there's $5.5 million of debt, and there's a building that really they can't afford, and they're working towards that. It has been a struggle for a long time, and it is an open and affirming community of faith. And you should, we want you to know that. And you're going to take a pay cut. that was the 6 or 7 things that they said. And I immediately said, this sounds interesting. Because I'm kind of wired to be a part of tough situations. Like for whatever reasons, that's just where I've been spaced where I've been put by the universe. Like, where there's transition, where there's change, like that's just kind of who I am. I thrive in that. And so in looking at it, it was like, this is a really, like wrap it up. I don't know who's, I'm grateful for the humor today though, that's for sure. Okay, so that was actually very appealing to me because we wanted to be a part of something really wonderful. We wanted to be a part of something that was new. We wanted to be a part of something that was different. Like I felt very strongly that I wanted the last season of my career to be in a space committed to a reformation of the tradition that didn't throw out all the beautiful things that had happened over the last 50 years within like Western Christianity and the modernization of church, but also was willing to really take a hard look at some of the ways in which the church was functioning doctrinally, the way we were excluding people, and were willing to like be brave and do things that were beautiful, but gonna be hard as the world was kind of moving all around us, including the church itself. So we started down this journey, and to make a long story short, fooled everybody and got hired. Had been here for 6 months, and COVID happens. George Floyd is murdered. The election of 2020 takes place. New leadership in a church that had leadership for over 25 years that was consistent. Culture is shifting around us. All these things are happening. The leadership team, the council, which is our board of directors, comes together, and we're here, we're in a meeting, we're spending time saying, okay, like time out, like who we thought we were as a church and the consistency that we thought maybe we had of values might not be what we thought it was, given what we were seeing. So we sat down and we said, who are we as a church? And we affirmed our values. We affirmed the 5 unacceptable truths. We affirmed a 10-year vision for 10,000 everyday normal peacemakers that we wanted to be equipping through our different programs and work. We affirmed the idea of how much we would love to see being fundraised and raised for this work. And when we laid it all out, I remember very vividly sitting with our leadership team at the time. I think, Dennis, you were in on those conversations, right? And I remember saying to the group, like, if this is who we are as a church, and I think I might have even said you, because I'd only been here a year, right? And I said, if this is who you are and this is who you want to be, I'm probably a good leader for that. But I can probably tell you there are no guarantees of where this leads us. With what's happening in culture, what's happening in the world, to live into these values, which is something I can do, and I can lead into these values, because I'm like, when it comes to values and mission, I'm like a dog on a bone, right? Like that's for me what it takes, like to believe in that, and then consequences be damned, we go for it, right? And so the conversation we had that day with that leadership team was, is this who you are? And if this is who you want to be, that's great, but there are no guarantees about anything. At the time, we still had $5.5 million in debt, had no idea really every month, how are we going to pay this payment? How are we going to make payroll? How is this all going to happen? And I remember in those conversations saying, like, this is the time to decide, like, and no hard feelings. If this isn't who we are, if this isn't where we're going, which is very consistent with what I was recruited under, so there was no shock, but it was like, if we're willing to go, then I'm your person, but if not, then it's okay. Like, now's the time to make a decision, right? Like, we cannot move, we can move with the church to a certain degree and say, okay, maybe we can just tone it down a little bit. Right? I mean, that was the idea. Like, and we could, it would not be probably super difficult to tone things down a little bit, be in a space of ambiguity, which worked for a long time and was perfectly acceptable, not a bad thing. It wasn't just this church, it was all over as the world shifted. And, kind of grow and kind of be soft Christian nationalism is kind of what it would have been, I think, at the end of the day. And the council at that time, in my opinion, to their credit, 100% said, this is who we are, this is who we want to be, and we don't care where it is. Because we want to be a space for the people that have been excluded. That's the heartbeat of this church. That's what it was from the moment it met in John Smith's living room. Like, who are the outsiders? Who are the people? And this is who we want to be. Let's go for it. And so you could look back at a timeline and start seeing where things stopped. I don't know if you remember, we had a big old book sale. How many of you were around for the fire sale of evangelical resources? Gone. And you can mark that moment where, as a leadership team in deep unity and understanding of where we were going and why we were doing it, decisions started to be made. We began to develop the peacemaking path, writing that, fresh perspective, all of these, the way of peace, all these things that are now in place, and it took time for us to develop these resources. And then 2 years ago, it was almost 2 years ago, it was the spring of 2024, so about 18 months ago, I guess it was, we were on track. We felt like things were going well in the sense of the financial stress. We had, as a church, we had made some great partnerships with the Loveland Housing Authority. We partnered with them for a new neighborhood that's going to be built on this land that we owned. We were able to get rid of all of our debt. And yet we still experienced the financial tension of having a ministry of, regular attenders on a Sunday morning, 300 people in a facility like this, what it takes to upkeep and maintain and all these things. And we had a couple of things hit us pretty hard in the spring, and we came to the congregation and we talked about that. But when that happened, we knew, okay, this is a moment where we have to be open-hearted as a leadership team to where are we going? What are we doing as a church? And it was at that time we said we need to find out, what is the value of this building? And what are our other potential sites to do this beautiful work in this community that are consistent with our values of doing modern church? Are there spaces, are there physical locations where we could actually do better work towards the 5 unacceptable truths in our community than this location, right? Those were questions we were asking. And we knew at that time we needed time. So we needed time to be able to discern. We needed time to see what unfolded. We needed time. We didn't want to make an unwise decision because of the clock. We didn't want to let finances be the guiding factor and have to do a fire sale of our building or anything like that. So we came to you all, the congregation, came to ourselves as leaders, and we said, we want to encourage everybody to make a 2-year commitment to Peace is Worth It. If you're around then, the campaign is called A Unique Light. We believe that our church is a unique light in northern Colorado, and we want to continue to shine, and we didn't know what that looked like. And we were committed to doing everything to say, what does it look like to do it in this building? So we found a tenant for our student center. We rented it out to them, which was wonderful. Got us through last year. Meant that you all and I didn't have to give more than we already gave. So that was wonderful. We got a couple other partnerships, and these are all partnerships with people that are doing work in the unacceptable truths, right? So this wasn't just like, something that was completely outside of our framework. These partnerships that we developed were working with adults with differing disabilities and including them into the community. It's great. And so as we did that, we said we need time, and so we were thinking, what does it look like to stay in this facility? What does it take? What are the things that we can develop in terms of new ways of generating revenue for ministry? So we did rentals, and we this year our counselors worked very hard on a wedding ministry to use the facility for that, which we knew no matter what, whether it's here or someplace else, we know that providing wedding services, particularly for the queer community, is a beautiful ministry in alignment with our values of inclusion, and the church has traditionally excluded that community. And so we felt like this was it was a wise thing to do. It was within our values, all that beautiful stuff. So throughout this year, we've come and we've shared, here's where we are with our Peace is Worth It. We're exploring, blah, blah, blah. Our Peace is Worth It campaign is doing well, by the way. I think Jimmy, are you in here guarding what I'm saying, right? So Jimmy, I think we're almost $1,000 away from hitting our goal for Peace is Worth It, which is amazing, right? We as a church came together and have given $211,000 above and beyond your general fund giving, which is amazing. Amazing. We were anticipating having a $300,000 deficit this last year, which we could never have funded. We had a $50,000 deficit, right? That's wonderful. That's exactly what we need right now in this season, time. And so throughout that year, I had received a couple of phone calls because we had our realtor who knew we were open to the idea of moving, who knew that we were open to the idea of selling. We didn't know. We were just open to all these things. And by the way, everybody should know, our congregation members vote to buy and sell property. Our council works out all these details and then brings to the community what we believe as a council is the wisest thing to do. So just make sure you hold that. This is a community decision, but it's led by a leadership that's put in place to present the best way forward so that you don't have to spend nearly as much time as what these folks have spent over the last 2 years, okay? So you can go to work, raise your families, right? Figure out how to pay your bills, right? That's the idea. So over the course of the last year and a half, I've had our realtor call me a couple of times and say, hey, this building's going up for sale. Would you be interested in looking at it? And every one of them was like, nope. There was just no way. It wasn't who we are. I had no desire to lead our church into a space that was not going to be more effective, that was not going to be a visionary move, a move that was good for our mission. And so every time that happened, it wasn't even a consideration. Honestly, I just was like, nope, I couldn't cast vision for that. Don't see how it would be more effective, anything like that. And then about 6 or 7 weeks ago, maybe 8 weeks ago now, I don't know, it's been a bit of a blur, I got a phone call that there was a building going up for sale in Loveland, downtown Loveland. I can't tell you which one. We're not allowed, okay? So don't ask. I will be able to tell you, but I can't tell you right now. There's a lot, because it would endanger some things with the deal that we're working on to bring to you all. But I will be able to tell you hopefully next week. But I will say this, immediately when I got the call, I said, yes, can we do it today? And so it was the next morning, I went and looked at the facility. After that, brought the council over, we looked through the facility, and we realized this really does check a lot of the boxes that we had lived open-hearted towards. And here's what those boxes were. Would a move enable us to be more effective in rewriting the 5 unacceptable truths in our city? Okay, that's a missional decision. Checked that box. Would this move allow us to make a transition and end up with a $1 to $2 million endowment to help fund our ministry to relieve the burden of doing modern church on a medium-sized to small-sized congregation currently? It checks the box. Okay, so what everybody needs to know is in a move like this, what we're talking about is the sale of our building, the purchase and renovation of another building, which then would lead to a beginning endowment of $1 to $2 million that then we would leverage strategies for the next 10 years to seek to grow that. Because my heart is to retire as your pastor, if you'll have me, and for this church to be able to function in ways that are not burdensome for the congregation in terms of giving. Now, I believe in generosity. My wife and I give more than 10% to our church because we believe it, okay? So it is not about that. I have no problems with us giving to good things because I think it transforms our lives and the world in which we live in. But it's to say there has been an undue pressure on us as a community that this will, we think, help alleviate a little bit of in this move, while also like propelling us to be an incredibly unique light in our community. And so what I anticipate happening here, our council is meeting after the service today to talk about where things are in these negotiations. And so in the past 2 weeks, when we first looked at the building to purchase, we were like, how are we going to do this? Like, how would we do this? Like, we have to sell our building, and this building could take years to sell, right? Like, what would you use this building for? You're like, a church, Ryan, a church. My church, you idiot. That's what I would use it for. Okay, fair enough. Beyond that, right? Like, so we were at this space of like, well, we started exploring things like bridge loans, bond issuances. How do we like creatively do this, because this opportunity is unique and felt very unicorny. I'm hesitant to be like, oh, it's a once in a lifetime. That's a manipulative thing. I don't think that. I just think it is a really powerful opportunity for us. And so part of this was, well, before we make an offer that's contingent upon the sale of our building or whatever, we needed to discover is there any interest? How long could the sale of this take? So we engaged, we never disengaged, but we called our realtors and said, can we go ahead and like soft list the building? Like, can we let folks know can you come out, take pictures, and in your network let them know? And they said, yes, that's fine, we can do that, but we do have to list it on industrial spaces as well. This was about 4 weeks ago. We said, okay, well, our goal is to be able to have actually something concrete to share with our congregation so that everybody's not freaking out that we're just like leaving and moving and having no home and we're like homeless as a church or whatever it might be, you know? And so we made a decision, right, wrong, indifferent, that we felt was best for the community to try and hold off until we like knew something fairly concrete. So what happened was within like 4 days of that phone call, we had like 3 or 4 organizations like knocking at the door wanting to look at the facility, and we've received an offer for the facility. And that offer for this facility is about double what we would pay for the other facility, which we put an offer in for, and they've given us their kind of offer back. And so we have these 2 deals that are kind of happening simultaneously that even our realtors are like, the realtor used the word unicorn yesterday with me. And so one thing I want you to hear, like, I'm not the person who stands up here and says, God's telling me, because I think that's spiritual manipulation. God's told me to do a lot of things that turned out to be the wrong thing, okay? I couldn't tell you whether or not God is telling our leadership team to do this or not. What I can tell you is the leadership, the council have spent years wrestling with this question. Years before I got here, wrestling with this question. And we have a potential answer that's really beautiful. And it's scary at the same time. There's a lot of questions that are involved in this. You are going to have questions that I have questions about that I don't know the answers to yet. So we're trying to make the next best decision, get the answers that we need to move forward. And so I anticipate, here's what we're going to do, okay? Like, I'm telling you, this is like hot on the press. Like, we're going to meet as a council today. We're going to communicate with both our interested buyer and the people that we're interested in buying from this week. I anticipate next Sunday, after this church service, we will have a gathering for our members. Now, this is what we're going to do. This is not an official meeting, okay? We have to, for bylaws, we have to call official meetings. That's the 16th. But what I want to do is, as soon as I can, I want to communicate this, right, as clearly as we can to everyone. So next Sunday, following the service, we want to invite everybody, all of our members, to come out. Even if there's a football game, I want to encourage you. Just maybe record it. Come out and be present for kind of an important conversation, all right? And we'll meet. We'll give everything we have at that time to share with you. And the idea would be to present concretely what you're voting on. And here's the thing, right? These things, we don't get months. We get weeks, right? That's just how these things work. And so the goal would be to have everyone clear and have enough information that at our annual business meeting that we'd be able to vote on this. And I know that feels fast for a lot of us. I want to honor that. I know that feels fast. But I want you to have the timeline to know we're talking about the last year and a half of very intense thinking behind the scenes, trying to communicate with everyone our open-heartedness without creating panic. We grew this last year, okay? Can we say this? We grew this last year. Our giving grew this last year. Crossroads is not going away. Will everyone please say that? You are, unless you go somewhere, I don't know, right? I mean, that could happen. It very well could happen. But Crossroads is not going anywhere. You are too important. The work we're doing is too important. And so I just want to encourage you, that's the goal, is we'll communicate, and hopefully, I'm very, very hopeful that we can communicate in a private setting, not broadcast like this all over the internet, the location, and I'm going to trust that everybody in the room can be an adult and not talk about it with their friends and everybody else, and you can keep it to yourselves. Even to the point that I would ask, the fact that this is in, the location we're looking at is in downtown Loveland. It is an amazing location. I would ask that you don't talk about it with anybody outside of here. Okay? Because that just jeopardizes things. And maybe you want to jeopardize it. Which is okay, you're right. Go ahead. I'm going to be here on Thursday night at 6:30, this Thursday and next Thursday. If you want to come and ask any questions, if you want to come and you want to express the sorrow you have about the potential of leaving this building and the joy that you're holding at the same time, let's talk about that, right? I know that buildings hold memories. I get that. I totally get that. And I do not want to negate that complexity. So I want us to be able to hold the beauty of things that have happened in this space, and I want to hold the beauty of things that can happen in a different space. I want to hold that the church is not a building. It's not. That's why names on a building are somewhat deceiving. You all, we're the church. I was asked this question today. It's a good question. And I'm going to say this, and this is not any, please don't hear this as manipulation. Please don't hear this as a threat. It's not a threat. I was asked the question, what happens if this doesn't work out? Or what happens if we decide not to move and we stay? Okay? Fair question? Right? No, not a fair question. Fair question? Raise your hand up nice and high if that's a fair question. I think it's a fair question. Here's the answer to that question. If we don't think about something like this, if we don't think about leveraging the resources that we have in this facility in this way to stay and grow, grow at a clip that's necessary to care for this building properly at its age and the reality of it, I think everybody should consider the fact that we all of us, including myself, would need to give about double what you're giving for the next 5 years. Does that make sense? To invest in the things in this building that it's going to need okay? Like, because we have AC units and things like that that are 25 years old. We have a parking lot that is monstrous that needs to be repaved. Like, those types of things, they just are costly, and they require a lot of people who are giving a little or a few people who are giving a lot. Does that make sense? And I could have said it this way. I could have said, we need to kind of double our donations and our revenue every year, right? Or for the next 5 years to do that. But it's just being deceptive. Like, it's on us, you know. And I will say this, like, as a family, and I say this to say that we are committed to this church. Wendy and I, our family, this last year gave over $50,000 to Crossroads Church because we believe in it. I can't give $100,000 next year. We can't do that. Like, we really can't even continue to give at that level. But we were able to tap into savings and tap into retirement and deal with things, and because we believe in the work that we're doing. I say that to say, I don't say that lightly to everybody. I don't think about this as like we're not committed. Like, we as a family are committed. I am committed to this work and believe this is a great opportunity for us. The last thing I want to say about it is this. The reason why I believe personally, as I am one vote, okay? I am one vote. But as a person who is kind of charged with vision and leadership, if one of you were to walk up to me today and say, you know what, our family just won the lottery and we want to give $5 million to the church to start that endowment so we could stay in this building. I don't know that staying in this building is the most effective way to do our ministry in the future. So I don't want you to hear that this is just a financial thing. It's not. Like, in the whole idea and the whole thought of leaving or moving or being in a different space is a question of effectiveness with our mission. There are things about this facility that are wonderful for the work that we're doing, and there are things about it that are not. And so I'm not convinced that staying is the best and most effective way forward for us as a church in this space. I'm one person, okay? But I want to be honest, right? Do I think we can do effective ministry here if we have the resources? Absolutely. I think you all are that good. Do I think we might have the potential to really partner with our city and rewrite these unacceptable truths in really powerful ways and be present in ways that are consistent with our values and who we are as a church with a move like what we're hopefully going to see proposed? 100%. 100%. Okay, that's a lot. I'll be around for a few minutes before our meeting. If you have any questions, don't come and ask me where it is. I can't tell you. I tried. I was on the phone saying, I don't have enough credits to cast vision to move somewhere with them not knowing where we're moving. Like, I'm not John Smith. I don't have that kind of credit, you know? So I do hope as soon as we can to let everybody know, because I know that what's important is that we need to kind of overwhelm the emotion of the sadness of maybe a space with the hope of a vision and a potential. So we'll get there, but I didn't want to wait another week. We didn't want to wait. We have enough, I think, to give everybody a pretty good idea of where we are and why we're doing this, okay? Why we're proposing it. I would take questions, but I'm not an idiot. So if afterwards you have a question for me, please come up. If you have an encouragement, I know some of you got the email. Oddly enough, I didn't get one. It's like, you all were really great. Like, you read the email and were like, I should give myself a day before I respond. Because I did not get one, like, the other option, Ryan, is you resign. Like, I didn't get anything like that, you know. I got some really wonderful, kind, trusting responses. And for those of you that sent those, I want to say thank you. This is not about me. This is about us. This is about this church. This is about the work that we're doing. And I hope that we can discern that together in the next few weeks. And we'll see what happens, okay? So this Thursday, 6:30, next Thursday, 6:30, I'm here. Answer any questions. If 2 of you show up, if 100 of you show up, we'll come down here and we'll chat, or we'll go up into my office, whatever it might be. I'll take you to the principal's office. We'll figure it out, all right? Do you think we can, Oh gosh, it's 11:45. What do y'all want to do? Yeah, that's the clock is wrong. My point is there's about 20 minutes left before you all start checking out, right? Oh, thank you. Talk fast. Or you want to talk fast? Here's what we'll do. Band, come on out. We're going to sing a song, and I'm going to talk fast. We might skip some fill-ins, okay? How many of you all currently live in the first house or apartment that you ever lived in? Not many of us. Not many of us live in the house that we first lived in. We move. We move as individuals, as people, for lots of different reasons. This is a different kind of thing, but it's one thing to have the wisdom to kind of think this is a good, wise path forward. It's another thing to have the courage to do it. And the last thing I want to say is this. No one should ever hear that a decision to sell this building in some way is to say that we should have never built it. No one should ever think that. We would never be able to be having the conversations we're having right now if this building wasn't built and this church didn't exist in it and we didn't sell the land, and the future would not be possible without the past. There's just the reality of the world shifts and changes, and sometimes things that were beautiful and were necessary and powerful, they aren't as beautiful or as necessary as powerful. You know, a great metaphor for this that I often think of is if you look at the book of Genesis. In Genesis, you have the story of Joseph, and there's a great famine in the nation of Israel, and Joseph is kidnapped. He's taken into Egypt in this story. He becomes second in command to Pharaoh, sets up a plan, a structure, saves the whole known world, and Israel, the family, moves to Egypt as a space of salvation and hope. And then you read what a few chapters later? There arose in Egypt a Pharaoh who did not know Joseph, and the suffering of the people rose to the Lord. Egypt was not always a place of bondage. It was not always a place of negativity. It was not always a place of a burden. At one point, it was a beautiful place and source of healing and hope, and I think that is true of life, that we can have things that produce hope and life and joy and are a huge part of our story and will always stay a part of our story even when we move on because they no longer serve us well or something serves us better. So I throw that out there to try and be a pastor in the midst of all of this business talk. Let's sing this song, and then I will talk very fast.
I invite you to stand as we sing this next song together.
Creatures of our God and King, lift up your voice and with a
All right. Woo! Oh, man. Y'all are in for it. Okay. Good night. What a morning we've had here. Okay. Not going to introduce myself. You're going to have to figure that one out on your own. Not going to give you a quick review. Just going to have to try and remember that one, what we're talking about with rethinking, all right? Here's the question I have for you today. How many of you have ever had an experience, you sat in a space and said, I'm not worthy? Anybody ever have that feeling, right? I'm not worthy. This is a really, really powerful emotional experience. And it's really a question of esteem. It's how we think other people think about us, right? When we say, I'm not worthy, I don't feel worthy, we're making a judgment call about what it's so weird for me to be doing this right now. I just want you to know that after that conversation, I'm trying to get my head around, like, let's change their life with this message. And I'm like, I don't know if this is possible. I'm having this internal dialogue, okay? But we'll shrink it down and we'll give everybody enough information to be confused, okay? This question, this statement that I'm not worthy, is really a question of how we think other people perceive us. And it spills over into how we think God perceives us. When we think I'm not worthy, really what we're saying is, what is the story that I'm telling myself about other people and even God? How does God think about me, right? That's the idea of this understanding of worthiness. And when we shift into a space of I'm not worthy, it's grounded in a way of seeing the world that is very, very common, that gets baked into us because it holds our psyches, it holds our souls together, and it's something called the just world theory. And the just world theory says this: people get what they deserve and deserve what they get. How many of you have ever heard anything like that? Right? You know somebody in your neighborhood and their car breaks down and they're kind of a jerk and you're like, oh, you get what you deserve, right? That way of seeing the world, and again, I'm giving you this like 50,000 foot view of the theory, but like that's the idea. And that theory governs the way in which we experience the world and the way in which we experience others. And it's powerful because it feels safe. It feels like we can control some things. Like good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people. But here's the thing. It doesn't always work that way, right? And what that theory does, what that like space that we hold turns into oftentimes is victim shaming, victim blaming. Someone goes through something really painful, injurious, traumatic, abusive, and we go into this just world theory. You go through that, you experience that, and you say, I must have done something to deserve it. And so we internalize that belief. Something bad happened to me, therefore I must have done something wrong. We experience that. And so we move into, I did something to deserve this. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy to be protected. The world the world is fair, and so I deserve all of this. Because it's too much for our brains to go, the world isn't just. Because if we have to hold space that the world isn't just, that's terrifying. That I could do all the right things in life, and I could still have terrible, horrible things happen to me. And so in our space to try and figure out how to make it all fit and how to survive and how to function, we go into this space that says, I'm not worthy. And it's that story that we tell ourselves to preserve the illusion of justness in the world as baked into it, right? So that the world can make sense. And this is one of the most universal lies that dysregulates our nervous system, that causes us to go into survival mode. And that just world trap puts us in a cycle of shame and hustle, right? Shame and hustle. Because now, instead of living from a space of worth as just an inherent quality, we think we've got to earn it. And so we spend our whole lives navigating that. How do I earn people's love? How do I earn people's security? And when that is lost, right, we sacrifice worth to try and maintain some sense of order. So think of it like this way. If you're a child and home is supposed to be safe, and you have this deep belief that parents are supposed to be loving, but all of a sudden you experience intense pain, trauma, abuse, your brain is concluding, okay, to be safe, I must have done something wrong. They hurt me, but I deserved it. And it's a way you hold it all together to make sense of it. And so worthiness will stop being about a birthright for who you are, because you are here, because you are present, and it will become performance. The hustle begins. And that's what we need to unpack a little bit of if we're going to rethink thoughts, because this is a big one. Because bad things are going to happen to us, and that cycle repeats. We start to feel good, things are happening, I'm doing the right thing. You don't change anything, and all of a sudden something bad happens, you go right back into this cycle. And so we no longer live from worth, but we spend our lives running from unworthiness. And that's the source of pain. That's the source. That's where things get all tangled up and things get hard and difficult. And I want to look real quickly at the story of a guy named Mephibosheth. That's a good name. It's available. Mephibosheth@gmail.com. I'm positive is out there, okay? 2 Samuel tells us the story of Mephibosheth, and it offers us some wisdom and some perspective when all of a sudden your life feels worthless, okay? So 2 Samuel chapter 9, you can go back to chapter 6 or chapter 4 to really get it, but we see this person who has experienced some really big pain. So 2 Samuel chapter 4, verse 4 says, Saul's son Jonathan, okay, had a son who was crippled in his feet. He was 5 years old when the news about Saul and Jonathan came from Jezreel, and his nurse picked him up and fled. And in her haste to flee, it happened that he fell and became lame, and his name was Mephibosheth. So what has happened here? There's a civil war going on. Jonathan and Saul are killed in a battle. Jonathan's son, Mephibosheth, who has a crippling disability in his feet, but seemingly was able to walk at some level, is now going to flee. So his nurse picks him up, and in going, falls, something happens, and now he's crippled and changed forever. And the story tells us that they go and they flee and they kind of live in hiding. And they live in hiding in a place called Lo-Debar. And Lo-Debar, if you translate it, means empty field. It means nothing. So his whole life now, fast forward about 20 years, he's lived in hiding. Why is he living in hiding? Because he's an heir to the throne. And if you've ever watched Game of Thrones, that's a tough position to be in. So he's hiding in Lo-Debar for 20 years, waiting for them to find him. He's living in a place where his namesake is like son of no one. Son of no one. He's not royalty. He's a burden. Every meal that he receives, every time he needs to move, he is a burden to someone. Someone has to move him. Someone has to carry him. So he's lived this whole life as a son of no one. He's a burden, part of a fallen dynasty, living in hiding, waiting every day. Well, one day it happens. They show up. One day it happens. The men of David, the soldiers, they show up because David says, I want to know, is there an heir to Saul? Is there an heir to Jonathan for his name's sake? Because Jonathan and David were the best of friends. And we find out in 2 Samuel chapter 9 that David's like, is there anybody? And we find out that there's this guy, and he's been in hiding. And so he sends for the soldiers, and the soldiers get him. And the soldiers finally show up. What do you think Mephibosheth hears? This is the end. This is the end. And so he travels from Lo-Debar to Jerusalem. It's about 80 miles. He has to be carried. It probably took much longer than we would imagine. He's afraid what's going to happen. When he hears he's got to show up before the king, he doesn't hear invitation. He hears execution. I'm giving you these fill-ins. Come on, people. Stay with me. He's coming into this space going, oh no. And you just have to imagine the journey from Lo-Debar to Jerusalem, back to the palace that he fled. He's the heir, the fear, everything that's going on in his mind. You just have to imagine that. He's being carried by servants. His legs are wrapped. His body is weak from years of limited movement. This trip probably would have taken a week. And all of a sudden he sees the city off in the distance, and the heart starts racing, and the panic and the anxiety sets in. But he just knows he's worthless anyway. And the gates open up, and he enters into the city, and he's brought in before David, and he's scared out of his mind. And the text says that he falls down on his face. And he doesn't fall on his face in front of David out of worship or anything like that. He falls out of shame and fear. In 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 6 says this, Mephibosheth, son of Jonathan, son of Saul, came to David, fell on his face, and he did obeisance. It's a good word. How many of y'all do obeisance to your spouse? Hopefully not. And David says to him, Mephibosheth, and he answered, I am your servant. So when Mephibosheth finally enters in, he doesn't walk in, remember, he's carried, he's set down, he falls forward as if to say, I'm no threat. I'm no one. Obeisance, this ancient posture of fear and submission. I'm no one. It's not just reverence, it's survival. Because in this world, right, if you wanted to survive and stay alive in the presence of power, that's what you did. You became nothing. And he expects to hear, you're condemned to death. But instead, what does he hear? David says, Mephibosheth. And in verse 9, David says, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, for I will show you kindness for the sake of your father Jonathan. I will restore to you all the land of your grandfather Saul, and you yourself will eat at my table. And in a single sentence, everything changes. The man who saw himself as unworthy is given a seat of highest honor. This man who grew up believing in hiding that he was cursed, that he was a burden, is now treated as a cherished one. He expected judgment and he finds belonging. But notice the deep wound that's in his soul, because his response to this love mirrors this entanglement that we experience of our worthiness. Because in verse 10, he's invited to the table. Look what he says. It says he did obeisance again, and he said, what is your servant that you should look upon a dead dog such as I? A dead dog. That's how he saw himself. He had come to a space of unworthiness that he was self-dehumanizing. And I love David here in this situation. He doesn't erase his past. The story doesn't erase his past. The story embraces it. Because if you read ahead to verse 13, which is a beautiful ending to this story that has all kinds of issues that we don't have time to talk about, but the beautiful ending to this story, right? In verse 13, it says, Mephibosheth lived in Jerusalem, for he always ate at the king's table. And what is the last line? Now he was lame in both his feet. Isn't that amazing? You're like, what are you talking about, Ryan? It's awful. No, it's amazing. The story doesn't erase his pain. We aren't left with an image of a person who had a limp and doesn't have a limp anymore. We aren't left with a person who was kind of crippled and is now fixed. No, we're left with the scene of a table that says your wounds and your shame and all of that stuff is welcome here. There's no hiding the two lame feet. That's the beauty of it. This is a story where there is a table where pain isn't hidden. And the table becomes this site of untangling all of that shame and all of that hurt from these past experiences. And it's a table that says you will no longer be defined by that. But it can be a part of your story and it can be redeemed by grace. And that's the wisdom of the passage. That's the beauty of it. It's a story of a journey from the barrenness of Lodabar to the belonging at the table of a king. And when David restores Mephibosheth, he shows him what divine love looks like. That love makes room for the forgotten and the unworthy and calls them family. So don't miss this. Don't miss this. Love doesn't ignore our shame. Love welcomes it to the table. It welcomes it to the table. Love doesn't ignore it, doesn't ignore our shame, our feeling of unworthiness. It welcomes it to the table. And as we rush through this story, We have to remember this was a forgotten man dragged out of hiding, trembling before the king, hearing words he never expected. You have a place. You are not worthless. You are mine. Jesus himself uses this same imagery in a parable. He talks about a man who sent everybody out and invited everybody, and they said, no, we're too busy. And then the owner gets angry and he orders his servants, go out quickly into the streets and alleys of the town and bring in the poor and the crippled and the blind and the lame. Bring in the ones whose shame and esteem are all tangled into survival, who aren't welcome at any other table because they are welcome at my table. These were all the sinners, the people who deserved it, because good things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people. And so to give you your fill-ins in the next 2 minutes, here you go. In your everyday normal life, sit at tables where your shame and your stories are welcome. Sit at tables where your shame and your stories are welcome. Do not sit at tables where your shame and your story is not welcome. Don't hide the parts of yourself that limp. You are worthy. And then I want to encourage you to create tables. Create tables where shame is welcome. Create tables where the whole story is welcome. So sit at tables where your shame is welcome, where your story is welcome, and then create tables where other shame and other stories are welcome. And just listen without fixing. Stay present in people's pain. Be a co-regulator with them in their nervous system. Be a presence of calm and stillness. And when we do that, we're saying you have a place, you're not worthless, you belong here. And that makes the world a better place. That makes you a better person, because these are the tables where shame and hustle are transformed into esteem and rest. And that's what I want you to bring to communion. You don't have to eat fast. The tables like this are where shame and dysregulation and the entanglement of survival are all untangled and transformed into an understanding of worthiness and rest. And so we're going to get you out of here pretty close to the top end of what we like to have you leave here. But I want to give you a few minutes to just think about the table that you need to sit at that embraces what you think is shameful, what the world has told you is shameful, and know that tables here, these tables, no, shame is welcome, stories are welcome. All of you is welcome. The song they're going to sing, we're going to sing. I want to invite you to stand all over, whether you're at a table or not. If you're able to stand. You've got a lot of words coming at you today, so let's do some silence. They're going to sing a song called I Am Good. And this song is a declaration of the goodness that exists in every person on this planet because of who they are. And you'd say, oh, but Ryan, I know the Bible verse. They came up to Jesus and they said, good rabbi. And Jesus said, why would you call me good? No one is good but God. Why would we sing a song that says I am good? Because I actually think Jesus was challenging them on their belief that no one is good. I don't think Jesus was saying, hey, you got this one right, finally. That's inconsistent with the text and Jesus' encounter with the religious leaders. Jesus is saying, well, if you don't believe anybody's good, why would you call me good? If only God is good, why would you call me good? He's not saying, well, you get it, I'm God. Trust me, that's not what's going, that is not the talk of a sane person in first century Galilee. Like what Jesus is saying is, you are contradicting yourself as you try to please me or whatever. So we're going to sing this song, I'm Good. And if you're here today in the rush of all the words and in the weirdness of a building that's just land and brick and mortar that is not going to be here in 200 years anyway, I just invite you to take a couple of minutes and sing I'm Good. And eat the bread and drink the juice that are the ultimate symbol that you are so good and you are so loved, that God in our tradition is made manifest through the person Jesus, the incarnation of love, who gave his life rather than take others, because you are so good. So we'll sing this. I'll give you your blessing. I'll get you out of here.
Look back person I once was. Policing each feeling and thought. If I could go back, I would tell my sweet self that I am good. I am good as I am. I am good as I am. I am good. I am good as I am. Such joy and relief in this glorious light, that there is nothing wrong with me. I don't have to hide any part of myself. I am good. I am good as I am. I am good. As I am. I am good. I am good as I am. My mind's not the enemy. My flesh is not a cage. My body is precious and wise. I'm a field full of flowers. I'm a sky full of stars. I am good. I am good as I am. Sing, I am good. I am good. As I
Good because you are loved. That's healthy spirituality. So, to bless you as you leave here with the hope that you will drop your communication card and your giving envelopes and your donations in the orange kiosks and stop at the art show, let's have our blessing. I invite you to open your arms to receive this blessing into your soul, to hear the words as hard as they might be to believe, that when shame whispers that you are not worthy, may you remember the one who sets a table, not a test. And when the old stories rise, the ones that say you've got to earn your love and you've got to prove goodness and you have to hide your limp, may you hear divine love call your name and feel the quiet pull of a chair waiting for you. And may you only sit where your worth is not measured by strength or success, but held in the gentle gaze of the one who sees you as whole. And when you rise up from that table, may you carry its grace into the world, making room for others to rest and others to breathe and others to belong. And may the tables at Crossroads Church, wherever those tables are set, whatever address those tables are found, be tables where shame and hustle are transformed into esteem and rest. And may our city know that at these tables, all are welcome. Amen. Have an awesome week, everyone.
When you see the road from every direction, it will give you eyes, give you hope, it'll give you perspective. I've been back and forth, and yeah, I had my crashes. Now I've seen the road, it goes every direction. Oh, there are stories to tell, the times we grew and the times we fell. Oh, I've been afraid some days, but the road will lead us to a better place. Road will lead us to a better place. Dead ends come and go. Look toward the horizon. Up ahead you'll find a peace of mind, relief from the trying. I have burned a bridge, wrecked in a ditch, had to ask forgiveness. Dead ends come and go. Look toward the horizon. Oh, there are stories to tell, the times we grew and the times we fell. Oh, I've been afraid some days, but the road will lead us to a better place. Road will lead us to a better place. Ooh, there are stories to tell, times we grew and the times we fell. Ooh, I've been afraid some days, and the road will lead us to a better place. Oh, there are stories